Hello and a warm welcome to the presentation of the 13th edition of Interpoma. I'm Thomas Moore, the CEO of Fiera Bolzano 𝐆𝐸𝐴 𝐃𝐢𝐴, and we are broadcasting live here from the FieraMesse Studios, joined by five distinguished figures in the Apple sector. This year's Interpoma is set to showcase groundbreaking advancements and visions for the future of this vital industry. Let's start by introducing our guests here. 𝐩𝐫𝐞𝐬𝐜, President of the South Tyrolean Apple Consortium, Giulia Montanaro, Brand Manager of Interpoma, Thomas Leczka, Molecular Biologist at the Laimburg Research Center, 𝐩𝐫𝐿𝐴, Curator of ipoma, the Interpoma magazine, and then we will have in streaming Luigi Manfrini, Associate Professor at the University of Bologna. With such a lineup, I can promise you an engaging and insightful session ahead. This year's Interpoma will guide you into the future of apple cultivation, with a focus on cutting-edge technologies that are transforming the industry. Before we begin, I want to give some key highlights and facts about this year's edition of Interpoma. And at the heart of Interpoma are always the exhibitors. And I'm happy to announce that we are fully booked, and we will host over 400 exhibitors from 21 countries. These exhibitors represent a powerful force for innovation and sustainability, showcasing solutions that will advance the entire Apple sector. Interpoma remains the world's premier platform for those seeking insight into the industry's latest developments. But Interpoma is more than a showcase. It provides guidance and orientation for visitors, the media, and everyone else of the Apple ecosystem. Through carefully curated initiatives, we ensure attendees can navigate the wealth of knowledge and innovation in the Apple worlds. And there are a lot of initiatives. I want to present one of them, which is the Interpoma Award, and this stands out as a highlight. And with this year's award, we want to celebrate solutions that reduce the use of PPPs and fertilizers and minimize also carbon emissions. This award is created in collaboration with the Free University of Bolzano and 𝐾𝐢𝐜, the Italian Vegetable, Flowers and Fruit Association. And I want to thank especially Professor Massimo Tagliavini, which leads the jury of this year's edition. Then we have a second award, which is the Visitor Choice Award, where attendees can vote for their favorite innovations, which are presented in the H1 event space. Giulia will tell us more about that in a few minutes. And I think these initiatives are part of Interpoma's dedication to making the show engaging and impactful for everyone. So now let's hear from some of the visionary leaders shaping this event. And first, I'm honored to introduce Mr. 𝐩𝐫𝐞𝐬𝐜, President of the South Tyrolean Apple Consortium, which represents the main partner of Interpoma. And Mr. 𝐸𝐾𝐬𝐜 will offer his greetings in German.
Hallo, guten Nachmittag. Es freut mich natürlich, dass ich bei dieser Ankündigung oder Präsentation für Interpoma wieder dabei sein darf. Interpoma ist natürlich, und das erfüllt uns schon mit Stolz, ein internationaler Treffpunkt der Apfelwelt, von Fachleuten, von Produzenten, von Tradern. Und ich muss schon mit einiger Genugtuung feststellen, dass sich Interpoma jetzt im Laufe der Jahre etabliert hat und dass, wenn wir international unterwegs sind, immer wieder treffen wir uns bei Interpoma. Und das, glaube ich, ist eine Auszeichnung, denn auch wenn wir diese Fachleute oder diese Interessenten nicht einladen explizit, so kommen sie immer gerne nach Bozen, nach Südtirol, einmal auch wegen den Dolomiten, wegen unserer schönen Landschaft, aber vor allem auch wegen den Apfel, wegen dem Südtiroler Apfel und wegen diesem sehr wichtigen Event, die Interpoma-Messe. Natürlich ist die Interpoma-Messe ein Höhepunkt, auch dank des Kongresses, der anlässlich dieser Messeveranstaltung organisiert wird. Dieser Kongress zeichnet sich aus, dass er immer wieder höchst interessante Fachreferenten aus allen Teilen der Welt nach Bozen bringt, die uns viel vom Fachwissen und von Zukunftsperspektiven in allen Bereichen rund um den Apfel berichten können. Wir werden versuchen, immer einen Blick nach vorne zu richten, ganz klar. Und dieser Kongress, muss ich schon sagen, hat jetzt ein Niveau erreicht, das also wahrscheinlich nicht so leicht zu überbieten ist. Was natürlich uns mit sehr großem Stolz erfüllt, ist, dass Interpoma, der Fachkongress, die Südtiroler Apfelwirtschaft auszeichnet. Einmal als höchst interessantes, international anerkanntes Anbaugebiet für den Apfel südlich der Alpen und auch, weil es ja unsere Bauern auch irgendwie auszeichnet. Das heißt, das angeeignete Fachwissen, das auch junge Produzenten immer wieder weitertragen, international an Interesse wecken und ja, eine Anerkennung erfahren für ihre harte Arbeit und für das Produkt, das sie jedes Jahr immer wieder im Herbst ernten wollen und dann auf den Märkten präsentieren können.
Vielen Dank. Thank you very much, 𝐷𝐸𝐿. As you highlighted, Interpoma is a unique global gathering, an essential meeting point for the apple world. And Mr. 𝐷𝐸𝐿 highlighted or stressed the importance of the Congress. We will hear about the Congress with Thomas Ledschke and Luigi Manfrini afterwards. And then as a second and important thing, the importance also of the farmers. They made the difference and are responsible that South Tyrol, that our region is so successful in apple growing. So thank you very much, 𝐷𝐸𝐿. Next up is Giulia Montanaro, Interpoma's brand manager, and she will walk us through 3 initiatives, including the highly anticipated opening, the Interpoma opening, and the Orchard of the Future. Giulia, with her team Priska and Anna, is the driving force behind this year's event. Giulia, what can we look forward to?
Thank you, Thomas, and welcome to the Interpoma press conference also from my side. As many of you already know, maybe, in the first part of my career, I have attended already 4 editions of Interpoma, and if there is something that I understand since the beginning was that this is the event to attend if you are in the business sector. So here you can understand where the sector and how the sector is moving ahead. So I think that is something that Apple business people know that is necessary to attend somehow. This year as brand manager of Interpoma for the first time together with Anna and Priska, my team, we try to make for our visitors and our exhibitors kind of a journey into the evolution and I would say also revolution of our sector in these years. So we can see all these new elements that are coming in our sector, of course through our Congress, in the pavilion, in the H1, through the award and also to the Visitor Choice Award, that is something that I will talk about later. This journey I was talking about, of course, start with the opening ceremony. And I would also say that I'm very proud that our opening ceremony, together with key people in the business sector and journalists, have become an important moment to have the first update of our apple production forecast. So we had the first data and the first figures in Prognos Fruit, and this is the first occasion to have this update. So together with WAPA, the World Apples and Pear Association, with Philippe Binard, which is the General Secretary, and also with the representative of the main important producing country, which means, of course, Italy, but also Poland and France, we try to understand the first elements of this marketing season, where the season is going on, and of course, having the data and the first days of the fair, so attending the fair, knowing this data, I think it's a very important added value to the people that come here in Bolzano in November. Then what I understand in this month working at the fair is that what we have to do as fair is to get people involved, to get people really, I would say, inspired to what we do. And for this reason, I think that involve them through the People and Visitor Choice Award is a new key element to make really people involved and understand what could be, in this case, voting the technology in H1, to understand where the sector is going, how the work of growers could really change through these new technologies. And we can really also involve young generation, because if you think about all these digital technologies, maybe it's something that the next generation will use actually, and making these people vote and saying, okay, for me these technologies could be the right one to change the way how I work in my field. This could be a good option according to me. And also for that reason that we have decided together with our communication team to involve also international influencers in the Apple business. There were many of them. I was completely, I really didn't know it. That can help us in involving young generation and young people. And then, as my last point, we know that until now, I think that we mentioned the words digital many, many times. We know that, of course, there's digital everywhere, new technologies everywhere, but we live in the reality. And we perfectly know what are the needs of growers, the need of Südtiroler growers that I would say learned in many years in the sector. So that's why we have decided also to have tours, because with these 9 tours that we have organized together with our partners, Südtiroler Beratungsring, but also together with Laimburg Research Center, we really give the people the possibility to understand how the Apple system in this region works, how this system is already applying the most innovative technologies in the world in this field. And yeah, so they can really touch what we are doing in this sector. And then my last point, just to conclude, I could say that I'm very proud of having chosen this topic for this Interpoma, because we know that the agriculture and, of course, the apple cultivation is now facing many, many problems. So we start from climate change, labor scarcity, etc., etc. So we need to find these new technologies that can help people to work in their field. But on the other way around, we perfectly know that all the expertise that we have are in the grower sense. So what we need to do is to help this grower to work better and to have their fair revenue when they work in their field. That's all our work. So help growers first of all. So thank you from my side. Of course, if there were any question, I'm open to ask, to answer, sorry.
Thank you very much, Giulia. I think everyone feels the passion when you talk. Thank you very much for that. I see that you work every day together with Priska and Anna to make Interpoma a unique experience and not just a trade show. So now we are coming, first we talked about the exhibitors which are the heart of Interpoma, and so I thought maybe the Congress could be something like the brain of Interpoma. And as we heard, it's one of the most important things also of Interpoma. It will span over 2 days, each dedicated to an essential topic for the industry's future. My special thanks goes also to Walter Guerra, our Congress coordinator, for orchestrating something. I think it's a very strong program this year. And now Thomas Ledschke will introduce us to day 1, genetic evolution and new breeding technologies. And as a molecular biologist, Thomas brings profound insights from Laimburg's molecular biology lab. And I think this session promises a compelling discussion on genetic advancements in apple breeding. What do you think we can expect from these discussions, Thomas?
Yes, new breeding technologies is the first topic of the Interpoma Congress this year. New breeding technologies is a technology that has been invented not more than 12 years ago, but yet, even though it's a short span, new breeding technologies have raised lots of exciting discussions, but also a lot of concerns and very controversial discussions as well. We would like to address a central question of debate in this Congress, which is, are these new breeding technologies really as promising as many claim, or are they really as critical and as risky as some others fear? I think probably the answer lies somewhere in between, as it is very often the case. And we have seen lots of different scientific discussions about this topic. We have seen a lot of ethical and political discussions, legal debates about this, but very rarely we have seen an event where all these different aspects come together and share their knowledge and provide a 360-degree overview about this topic. On Thursday 21, the goal is to provide really an insightful discussion and insightful event to the audience. We will begin with the legal landscape. So Anna Lukasiewicz from Wageningen University and Research will tell us about the regulatory frameworks in different countries, from America to Australia. She will have a special focus, of course, also on Europe, where there is a lot going on in regulations. And she will talk about why in Europe new breeding technologies are still under the regulation of GMOs, and why in many other parts of the world this is not the case anymore. Then we will continue with the science. We will continue with Giovanni Brogini from ETH Zurich, which will tell us about the state of the art in the scientific sector. He will talk about what is the state of the art, what is feasible already in scientifically speaking, what are the major players in this field, and he will also talk about what are the scientific potentials and what are also the scientific limitations in this field. Then we will have an apple break, and after this apple break we will hear Nick Carter from Mechanic and Specialty Fruits, which is a company which has developed the very first genetically modified apple, which has been engineered in order to not brown when it is sliced. It's called the Arctic apple, and he will tell us about his developments and also his plans to use new breeding technologies to achieve the same goals. Then we will address the question, what will the consumers say? What is this perspective? Angela Berth from HF Solutions in Switzerland will talk us about her expectations in the consumer perception, how the consumers will probably accept or not accept these new kind of breeds, these new kind of apples. And last but not least, we will have Jan Plagge. Jan Plagge is the president of Bioland Germany, and he will explain us his very specific opinions about new breeding technologies and their utilization in breeding of apples and other crops in Europe, but also in the world. After that, we will have an open round table, a table discussion where the audience is free to ask questions that will be addressed to the different speakers. I think what this distinguished lineup can provide is to have really the power to inform us 360 degrees about this topic in order to give the audience a very informed background and to give them also the ability to create their own opinions by themselves and opinions that are science-based, that are fact-based, that are objective, and that are not anymore gut feelings or prejudices or preformed dogmas. And if we succeed in doing that, I think we have done a pretty good job.
Thank you very much, Thomas 𝐻𝐾𝐽. I think there's nothing to add. It's a very well-curated first Congress Day, and I personally look forward to attend also the session. So then we move up to the second day, and we will have Luigi Manfrini from remote. We're talking about digital revolution and the orchard of the future. Luigi brings an unmatched passion for agricultural tech advancements, and we are excited to hear more about his visions. Luigi, could you tell us about the innovations on the agenda for day 2?
Sure. As you know, digitalization is a very hot topic on the market now. The digitalization of the environment is something that is requesting lots of skills and lots of very integrated knowledge. So that the idea of the second day of the Congress is really to bring people, experts actually, working on different aspects that are involved in the digitalization of the orchard. What means digitalization? Means building up new sensor. Well, it means using the data coming from this sensor, means analyzing the data, and of course it means transfer this information to the consumer that are the first consumer could be the technician helping the grower in the field, would be of course the fruit grower, the apple fruit grower, but could be also the final consumer that will have the fruit in its hand, and it will be able to have a full connection to the orchard in which the fruit that is eating is going to was coming from. So what we did was inviting different experts on all these different point of view from different parts of the world, of course. The first speaker after my chairing, in which I will introduce the concept of digital orchard that I just spoke about, and also the different aspects that are requested to the digitalization of the orchard from the different government. The first speaker will be 𝐷 from the University of Lleida. He is an associate professor that will speak about on how monitoring and reconstruct the 3D environment through different sensors. So how can we build up a three-dimensional shaping of the trees that we can find in our apple orchard, and how can we use this information to be more sustainable and increase the revenue for the grower and for the industry that is behind the apple production. Then we will have a point of view from Ken Breen, from PFR, Planted Food Research, New Zealand, that will tell us what's the future structure, future architecture that trees should have to better use digital information. They are actually building up a virtualization of an orchard in which you can actually answer to the system which what will be the reaction of a tree after doing some management operation. After that, we will have a point of view of a commercial orchard, Innovate USA with Steve Mantle, that will tell us how to learn from digital orchards. So how can we use the data to be more active and better manage the labor, the automatization, the input that the environmental request is asking. Then we will have another presenter, another speaker from Down Under, Ian Goodwin from Tatura Farms in Australia, that will speak about new covering structure like agrivoltaic system on orchard that can give power, because we have sensors and we have a big need of energy, and how this new structure can modify the environment, and how can we again digitalize this environment. From Germany, there will be Conny Biegert from the Consortium of the 𝐾𝐲𝐬𝐿𝐴 in Bavendorf, that will speak also a little bit about pathology, a little bit of post-harvest and quality of fruit, and how this is directly involved in the pre-harvest, and how it is involved and can be digitalized through sensors. Last but not least, just an internal speaker, Walter Guerra. He has already been named director of the fruit sector of Laimburg Research Station. It will, his speak will be centralizing all these aspects of digital orchard in a real future digital orchard that is called LIDO. So it's an integrated orchard in which you can find the commercial sensor, but also a new architect of sensor that can be integrated to create a platform from which receive information in real time on what the orchard is doing. And I think that's more or less what we will see in the second day of the Congress. And if you have any question, I'm available.
Okay, maybe we have a question already for you, which I received from East Fruit. The apple industry is undergoing a remarkable transformation thanks to cutting-edge technologies. What are the most promising of them that you believe will define the orchard of the future?
That's a 1 million question, $1 million or 1 million euros. If I could answer, I could be rich, okay? But yeah, I can give you a very diplomatic answer. The orchard of the future is an integration of knowledge. So the grower needs to change his mind and move to the industry. The only grower cannot go on by its own food. The idea is to integrate and create the grower 4.0. And the grower 4.0 or 5.0, if we think also about artificial intelligence and analyzing the data coming from the orchard, means not only working with the hands, but also working with sensors and predicting what the tree is going to do in the following day and the following season. We do have climate change, and the experience of the only grower is not enough anymore. So we need to use sensor that can reconstruct and predict, tell us what the tree is going to do in the future. So this is my point of view. And the orchard of the future don't have to adapt to the new technology. The new technology don't have to adapt to all type or all structure of orchards. It will be a joint venture of the two things. So new orchard will melt with the new technologies. I don't know if I've answered or if I was too diplomatic.
Essentially, you say technology that is built around the farmer, let's say, and that enters in his...
Exactly. But anyway, I'm one of the evaluators of the award that will be given at the end of the second day with Professor Massimo Tagliavini, and I evaluated already 16 companies that are releasing cutting-edge technology that can be used in orchards. And I have to say that some of them are really putting on the market very interesting technologies. Okay, then we can get an exact answer on the second day of Interpoma at the Interpoma Award, and the colleague from East Fruit will join us there to know what is the main technology. Okay, yeah. Thank you very much, Luigi, and we move to the last person in the room, and this is 𝐩𝐫𝐞𝐬𝐿, and I'm pleased to welcome him here in the FieraMesse Studios, because he played a pivotal role in promoting South Tyrolean apples globally. Now, as the creator of ipoma, the Interpoma magazine, Gerhard continues to champion the industry through stories that highlight current trends and innovations. Gerhard, please tell us more about this third edition, and maybe you can also share some of your favorite stories.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. Yeah, that's my story. It's a ipoma magazine, volume 3. We started in 2020. That was an online digital edition in COVID times, where we had the idea to give the visitors and the participants of the Congress and the visitors of the exhibition something to touch and to take home. And we tried to produce something of quality. Obviously, the topics are the topics of the Congress, day 1 and day 2. We tried to dive more into details. We made background interviews, and it is a reminder when you go home for what you have experienced in Bolzano when you were here. The product is printed in English, but is also available in English and Italian and German as a digital version. We have added, that's interesting, also something new this time, some QR codes. You see them here. So with your phone or with your iPad, you can scan the QR code and you get more information about the topic of the article. So it was a great work of the people behind that. And believe me, it's not me doing that. It was a big team of people involved in producing this volume 3. I'm quite proud about the contents we give, obviously not only articles and background information on the topics of the day 1 and day 2 of the Congress. We have always some specific view into the international Apple business. 3 years ago, we had articles about the new developments in USA. This time, for instance, we have a wonderful interview with David Bedford, the breeder of Honeycrisp, the apple which made the revolution in the last 10 years. So we try to just not stay too strict around the Interpoma Congress themes, but really to open the mind and bring articles all around what could be interesting in the apple world around the world. Don't forget, the motto of Interpoma is the apple in the world. And that's what we try to bring into this little magazine. Thank you.
You mentioned that it's printed also on apple paper.
Oh, I didn't mention it, but you mentioned it. Thank you, I forgot it.
I think that's also some kind of innovation that we are very proud of. A small detail, but it counts. As you said, we wanted to produce something of quality.
Great.
So thank you very much, Gerhard, for your contribution. And we are now coming to the closing remarks, and I think Bolzano will transform again into a true apple city. Also thanks to the efforts of the local tourist board, which alongside Interpoma and also in collaboration with the Apple Consortium will host the Apfelfesta, which will be a real apple festival where one can experience apple-based tastings and other kind of experiences. There's a small market. The restaurants will offer, or some restaurants will offer also food with special apple ingredients, and the whole city will live these 3 days of Interpoma all around the apple. And then another thing, last thing I want to mention is Interpoma Business Match, where we will connect global Apple market leaders in collaboration with the Chamber of Commerce and the Enterprise Europe network. This is a matchmaking experience. And last but not least, there will be a lot of international delegations. To mention some of them, they are coming from Serbia, from Kazakhstan, from Brazil, and many more countries. So thank you very much for your attention. I don't know if there are any other questions before we finally close. I see there is no incoming questions. I want to give you a few more seconds, and then finally I can make the wrap up. Thank you very much for joining us. See you very soon from 21 to 23rd November here in Bolzano. We are waiting for you, and we are happy if you visit us. Thank you, and goodbye.
Thank you, goodbye.